Hello, 6 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to the Class Breakfast News.
Class 91.3 FM.
The news is live on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, Ho FM 92.5 in the Volta region, Dagbon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio 192.1 in the Upper West region, Radio Power 96 in Spain. Around the world, join us on Class.
We take a lot of things for granted. These doctors we are talking about are people who are breaking their backs to make sure that we get healthy, okay?
The concerned youth of Ashanti condemns political interference in chieftaincy matters.
Authority of duly gazetted chief must be protected by the state. Political interference in chieftaincy matters cease immediately.
Coming up in African news, Kenya former Chief Justice arrested during protests over Nairobi Park development plans. These plus many other stories coming your way shortly.
This is the Class Breakfast News.
I am Elizabeth Aidoo and you're welcome to Class 91.3 FM. Let's settle for the details of the news. Now, frustrated by delays in the issuance of staff identification numbers and the payment of salaries, the newly posted teachers under the Ghana Education Service are threatening a peaceful demonstration if their concerns are not addressed. The concerned newly posted staff of the Ghana Education Service say many teachers have worked for more than 17 months without receiving salaries despite completing all the required documentation. According to the group, the prolonged delay have caused severe financial hardship, leaving many struggling to meet their basic needs. The teachers also claimed that a petition submitted to the Ghana Education Service earlier this year has not received the expected response, prompting renewed calls for urgent action. We are following this development and will bring you more details on this subsequently. Now, as controversies grow over the suspension of the Chief Executive Officer of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, Labour expert Bwachi Yadom is calling for dialogue and compromise, warning that many disruptions to healthcare services would unilaterally hurt patients. Speaking to Class News, Bwachi Yadom said the decision should have been preceded by engagement rather than immediate disciplinary action. He argued that even the CEO had erred, authorities should have sought clarification and provided guidelines instead of suspending him outright. He also cautioned doctors against strike action, noting that any disruption in healthcare delivery would affect patients and the general public.
This country, we take a lot of things for granted. These doctors we are talking about are people who are breaking their backs to make sure that we get healthy, okay? If you make reference to the WHO standards, in Ghana, one doctor to about 1,500 people. In any enlightened environment, this won't happen. So let's even assume that the chief executive slept. I don't think that's the way to handle it. My expectation would have been that the minister should have met the CEO, ask him why he took that decision, and possibly advise him to reverse the decision or whatever is appropriate. But to go ahead and suspend him, for me, it shouldn't have been on the table. Then comes the antecedent where the doctors are saying that reverse the decision in 3 days, or we also go on a strike action. It's not embarked on a strike action, and the minister is not prepared to budge. I expect the two parties to sit down and strike a compromise. Where there is another strike action, which is going to make the people of Kumasi and the patrons of Konfanochi worse off, it's not something that I will condone. But then you ask, how did this happen? So I expect the two sides to sit down and strike a compromise and end this matter.
That's Labour expert Bwachi Yadom. Ghana's efforts to boost local refinery and strengthen energy security have received a major boost with the arrival of the first shipment of Jubilee crude oil at the Central Oil Refinery. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, described the development as a landmark achievement in the country's drive towards industrialization and local value addition. Speaking at the launch, he said processing Ghana's crude oil locally would help create jobs, retain more value within the economy, and reduce reliance on petroleum products.
Achievement certainly good value addition, strengthen security, promote crude oil whilst importing substantial volumes of refined products here in Ghana. Indeed, for about 8 years, our own refinery was virtually down for that long period of time. While that model serves an important and add value to our resources locally, so doing, we end up creating jobs, building technical capacity, strengthening domestic industries, generating greater economic benefit for our people. One of the most significant private sector investment in Ghana's downstream industry. The refinery, originally designed to process about 100,000 barrels in-day facility, is yet to be fully operational. I'm pleased to note that following the completion of the first phase in 2024, which produces or processes 40,000 barrels, Central Refinery is gearing up to commence the construction and completion of the second phase.
That's the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor. The concerned youth of Ashanti has raised alarm over alleged political interference in chieftaincy matters, accusing state actors of undermining their customary processes in the Ashanti region. Addressing a press conference in Kumasi, the group's president, Nana Ejenim Bulletin, also known as Jataba, condemned what he described as growing interference by some government officials and security personnel. He warned that such action threatens peace and integrity of traditional institutions.
Chieftaincy dispute must be resolved through the Judicial Committee of the House of Chiefs, and where necessary, the Supreme Court. The principles are not optional. They are the bedrock of the lawful governance in matters of chieftaincy. They cannot be selectively applied. They cannot be ignored. They cannot be sacrificed for political convenience. Respectfully message to all the stakeholders, the law must be allowed to work. The Constitution must to be respected. The authority of duly gazetted chief must be protected by the state. Political interference in chieftaincy matters cease immediately. Accordingly, we call on His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to intervene decisively and ensure that all ministers, regional ministers, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executive, political appointees and public officials refrain from the referring in the chieftaincy matters and strictly respect the constitutional and legal framework governing traditional leadership.
You heard the president for the concerned youth of Ashanti, Nana Ejenim Bulletin. Concerns over the credibility of awards given to government officials have prompted the governance aspect to call for a probe into the past selections, including claims involving the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu. A governance aspect, Dr. Richard Fiadumo, is urging President John Dramani Mahama to expand his recent directive strictly ministers and all other political appointees from accepting awards from private organizations to include the full
what you have done actually something that is beyond a state where you have to be commended or awarded. So I would have wished the president should have gone beyond that to also institute an investigation as to those who received the awards. Did they dole out cash belonging to the state or the taxpayers' money? Then we get it. But yes, it is good for the statement to have been issued. But I would urge the president to go beyond that to investigate what Pesha White said, whether that is true or not. If what Pesha White said is true, then it means that taxpayers' money has been useful for the president to merely say that the appointees should not use state resources to sponsor this kind of program. I honestly think he could have done a bit better than he has done. So that is what I am calling for, because for me to have seen and heard that the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu was adjudged the best regional minister in Ghana, it is a no-no. It is clear that this award is not based on meritocracy. This award is on patronage. And I do not think that government officials should use state resources to seek patronage from the private individual or private sector.
That's a governance expert, Dr. Richard Fiadomo. And then the Savannah Regional Secretariat of the New Patriotic Party and executives of the Damago constituency are demanding the immediate arrest of an individual identified as Fuzi over the alleged assault of social media activist Yusuf Abdul Hakim at a press conference. Yesterday, the party officials condemned the incident and called on the Ghana Police Service to launch an immediate investigation called opposing politics.
Address the rising wave of violence from the NDC that threatens the security peace of the against members of the general public. And day-night attack on Yusuf Abdul Hakim, a young social media activist from Daboya, cannot be swept under the carpet. Such brazen lawlessness by a known NDC gangster from Damango is outdated, is criminal, and must be condemned and stopped. And above all, the perpetrator must be punished without delay. This notorious criminal, popularly known as Fuzi, an agent of NDC distraction and known hatchet man, is well documented for gangsterism in Damango. Its ninth assault on Hakim by him and his max tags is not an isolated incident. It fits a clear pattern of intimidation, brutality, suppression aimed at silencing dissent and crippling the opposition's ability to speak to the Ghanaian. This same character was fingered evidence in the raid, attack, and subsequent burning of the municipal office of the Electoral Commission of Ghana in Damango.
That's the Savannah Regional Secretariat of the New Patriotic Party and executives of Damango constituency. Now to some African news, Kenya's former Chief Justice has been arrested while taking part in a protest in Nairobi over plans affecting land near the Nairobi National Park. He joined other demonstrators who were marching along a road close to the protected wildlife area where activists are opposing proposals they say could reduce or alter parts of the park. The Kenya Wildlife Service, which manages the park, is being accused of allocating part of the land for development linked to a nearby convention center and plans for an expanded animal orphanage. However, Kenya Wildlife Service says the project will improve animal care, veterinary training, and visitors' experience. The videos on social media show police breaking up the protest and detaining several demonstrators who blocked the road during the march. We'll bring you more details on this story right here on Class 91.3 FM. This ends the Class Breakfast News with me, Elizabeth Aidoo. For more news and updates, do log on to classfmonline.com. The morning show continues with Kwame Jumo Ajaman and the team. Do stay and enjoy the rest of our program. Sports is up next. Good morning. Look at you.
Studios is expanding its frontiers as it can now be heard live on Dagon FM 102.5. Join our news team on The Breakfast 12 live and 5:05 as we bring